Hey everybody, Kurt and Brenda Warner, and welcome to our People feature.
And the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
When Kurt Warner and the St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl in 2000, it was not only a dream come true for the MVP quarterback, it also capped an unbelievable Cinderella story, so inspiring it transcended the world of sports. Because incredibly, only 5 years earlier, Kurt was out of football, stocking groceries in Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Part of the folklore, obviously the time in the grocery store. And there's part of you that embraces it because you understand the allure of it and you know, going from there to winning a Super Bowl a few years later and how everybody gravitates to that. And then there's another part of you that go, everybody's had that moment. Like, you know, again, most people have their supermarket moment where they find themselves in a place they don't want to be, they don't know how they got there, they got to do what they've got to do while they're waiting for the next step. And so that was when I got the offer to play arena football and played arena football for a few years. Then it was over to Amsterdam for a short period of time and then back to St. Louis, and as they say, the rest is history.
More than 20 years later, Kurt's remarkable feel-good story has been made into a movie, American Underdog, which premieres fittingly on Christmas Day.
We got this, let's get to work. Rat doubles, rip, 50 tail, on one, ready.
The film stars Zachary Levi as Kurt, and Oscar winner Anna Paquin plays his wife Brenda.
We did this together. I love you.
I love you too. We did it.
It is so wild watching somebody play you and see people's version of you. It is weird, but I think I was better at stepping back and just trying to enjoy it as an audience member versus a football critic. And, you know, like he had, you know, a lot to say about how everything was done. And I just love the love story. I absolutely love the relationship. And like I said, that's what I care about. So I think it was absolutely beautiful to just watch the love affairs happening in the different areas of Kurt and my son, of Kurt and myself, of even Kurt and Coach Vermeil, Kurt and his love for football and his love for God. Like everything is about love, and that is what I want this to be about, that everything is about love.
Kurt and Brenda's love story began in 1992. He was a 21-year-old backup quarterback for the University of Northern Iowa, while she was a 25-year-old divorced mother of two, an infant daughter, Jessie, and a 3-year-old son, Zack, who was left blind after suffering a serious brain injury when he was only 4 months old.
I was going to nursing school. I was discharged from the Marine Corps, a single mom on food stamps, and my mom said, you need to get out and meet people. And I said, I don't want to, you know, meet a man. I was, you know, hurt. It was a tough time in my life. And so I started praying that, God, if you're gonna give me a man, give me one with these three things: that he has a job, that he's faithful, and that he's ugly so no other woman would want him. And that is the exact same time that I met Kurt. And he had nothing of what I was looking for. You know, I didn't know if he could be faithful because I didn't think that was a possibility. And he didn't have a job and he wasn't ugly.
And for me, I was in a place where obviously my dream was to play professional football. And that was really my whole focus through college, was just, this is kind of a stopgap to get me where I'm going. And that obviously wasn't working out well for me. I sat on the bench for 4 years, and it was probably the lowest time in my life from a football perspective, just kind of going, I can't figure this out. How is this ever gonna work out if I can't play in college? And so I was just really frustrated and down. And my roommate was all cowboy. Grew up on a farm, the boots, the belt buckles, the cowboy hat. And he basically just said, come on, we're going out. And I told him, I'm like, I'm not going to a country bar. I don't like country music. It's not where I want to be right now. And he basically grabbed me, threw me in the truck and said, we're going.
Well, I was taking line dance lessons, and my mom and I would go take lessons, and then she would go home and I would stay out with my nursing school friends. And, you know, I just danced all night long, never with just anybody that asked me. I had a rule that I would say yes. And so when this young feathered back hair, you know, didn't have the cowboy belt buckle, didn't have boots, had, a weird style, walked in. What I noticed were all these women, girls that were all around him. And so again, where I was in my life, that is not what I wanted.
And that was when I recognized her, kind of as she said, she was always out there dancing with different people. And, being from where I was at the time, around college girls and all of that, I just thought, man, there's something different about her, and so that intrigued me. She had a different look as well, which I think caught my eye.
And so then doing the barn dance, you switch partners, and there he was, and the very last partner in that dance.
And I thought, okay, here's my chance to just introduce myself, and timing, fate, whatever you want to say, the dance ends with us partnered up, asked her to keep dancing, and that's really how this whole thing started. A chance meeting where she didn't want to go, I didn't want to go, and somebody forced us to go out, and all of this came from it. But that night that we danced and spent some time dancing and getting to know each other a little bit, and she basically told me, here's the deal, right? Before we take this any farther, here's the deal.
What I love most about that time in my life, and who knows if it was several months ahead of time or just right then in that time of my life, but I was basically saying to him, this is who I am. I'm not playing games. I'm not going to waste my time. I know that my children and I are a blessing to somebody's life. If you don't see that, walk away. So I'm glad that I was that settled at that time in my life when I met him, because again, he didn't check any of the boxes that I would have wanted for a man in my life.
So for me, it was important to just, okay, you gotta immerse yourself in this. You gotta go meet the kids, you gotta embrace this, and then quickly make your decision and not, leave her hanging or bring her along, because there's obviously so much going on that wouldn't be fair to her. So met them the next day. And as she said, I went there and she ran off to do something, and Zack kind of grabbed my hand and pulled me into the house, and we just had an unbelievable, morning, just the two of us kind of hanging there while she was getting ready. Now our daughter Jessie wasn't quite as forthcoming with me, but Zack was very open, and I think it broke down a lot of barriers.
And when I walked out and he was wrestling on the floor with Zack, and I thought, this is the first time that I don't have to explain my son's injury to anybody. He did not care, and it just eased something. The way he looked at my son with pure love, no judgment, no expectation, just loved him. That's all it took for me. We know that he fell in love with my kids before he fell in love with me, and I would too. They were much easier, but that's when I knew, because he was worthy then of our lives, of our love, if he was going to respond like that to my son.
I embraced that part of it, yet there was, I still won't say, oh, that day, and then it was like, oh, no issues here, this is going to be easy. I still understood what situation she was in, and if I was to get in a relationship here, this was a big time commitment, because it wasn't just us getting together, it was being a father to her kids and the weight that goes into being a father. So it wasn't quickly, but that did help break the barriers to go, at least give this a shot. And I think the same with her, that, a lot of people.
That's a long ass answer. When did you know I was the one?
I don't know when I knew you were the one.
Answer the question.
I mean,
do you know I'm the one now?
I do now.
Okay, all right, there we go.
But it was just a long way to go. I don't want people to think that, oh, it was the first night I met the kids and then it was easy at that point. I think we both had reservations, and it would take a little bit of time, but that broke down some of the early walls that were up.
But that's Zack in a nutshell, and he went right to Kurt. He heard a voice. Being blind, his hearing is so incredible, and he heard a different voice and came out and grabbed his hand. And I mean, that was love at first sight for the two of them. In a weird way, being blind, it was love at first sight.
Kurt and Brenda were married in 1997, and including Zack and Jessie, they now have 7 children together, ranging in ages from 15 to 32. After 24 happy years and counting, a large part of their success as a couple has been the remarkable strength of character they both brought to the relationship.
I believe we both had great strength of conviction. And that was something that attracted me, is that she knows what she believes in, she knows what she stands for. Even in our relationship, she knows what she wants. And all that stuff was very attractive. And then in that, I think the other part of the attraction is through that conviction, she challenged me. That, every day of our relationship is a challenge. And, she makes me want to be better. She makes me think about life differently. And that to me is what I want in a relationship. And those two things really, even to this day, are things that I love about her, and that really, I think, pushes us in our relationship.
During Kurt's 12-year NFL career, he was a two-time league MVP and led both the St. Louis Rams and the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl. In 2017, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And while Brenda clearly loves the player, turns out she's not such a big fan of the game.
How do I feel about football? I am
Loves it.
No. I am grateful for what it provided us, and to watch Kurt play a game that, I'll watch anybody do something that you can tell they're created to do it. That's beautiful to watch. And watching my boys play, I'm all there because I'm all in, but I do not enjoy sports. And it just shocks people, but I would rather watch a Broadway show or read a book or cook anything than watch a game. Well, I don't even bake, but I don't know why. I wish I did. It would make life easier.
One thing the Warners definitely do enjoy together is their nonprofit work. In 2018, Kurt and Brenda opened Treasure House after being inspired by their son Zack and everything he's been able to accomplish. With 30 apartment units located just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, Treasure House is a supportive living community for young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The goal is to help residents gain their independence and live a full life.
Treasure House has been such a blessing for so many families, and it's been a huge blessing for us. And obviously, it was spearheaded by our passion to make sure our son could live the life that we felt he deserved to live. But it's about all of those families, and it's about all of those young men and women, and it's about giving them a chance to dream, giving them a chance to hope for what else is out there. And so to know that we've built Treasure House, and it is completely full, and the joy when you open the doors and you walk in, and the excitement, and hearing from your kids that they don't want to come home because this is their home, this is where they belong, this is where their friends are, is incredible. By the same token, the first time I heard somebody come up to me at one of the Treasure House parties and say, "Oh, I'm the first one on the waiting list," and you're like, "Oh, God," it crushes you that you're trying to do so much, but there is such a huge need out there. And so that will be our passion moving forward. The beautiful thing is we're young. We believe that there's a lot more in store for us, that this is the first chapter, but we've got another chapter to write, and a big part of that will hopefully be treasure houses all over the country, all over the world, and families being impacted. And that has been a huge, huge blessing for us and for our family. And it's going to be something that we're going to do for a long time.
Meanwhile, as Kurt's fans eagerly await the chance to relive his magical Super Bowl win on the big screen, the MVP quarterback wants to remind everyone that American Underdog is a lot more than a sports movie.
I can't wait for people to see it because they're going to get what they expect, but I believe there's so much more in this movie, and there's so many things that are going to connect with people that they never knew going into the movie theater, and that to me is what makes a great movie. I've seen a lot of movies, and my kids love superheroes, and all that stuff's great. But what really connects with me when I leave a movie theater is the story. What is the story? How does it connect to me? How does it challenge me in my life? And I believe our movie has a chance to really do that with all the audience.
Destiny, it belongs to the underdogs.